Today, we're going to discuss one of the most powerful tools you have in your arsenal for success. Make sure you stay tuned so that you can check it off your list of personal development. Yes, a daily, weekly, monthly checklist.
This is a Touchstone Publishers presentation, your trusted source of leadership knowledge.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Essential Leadership Skills Live. My name is Glenn Daniels. I am the COO of Touchstone Publishers. Now, today we're going to spend some time. We're going to discuss one of the most powerful tools that you have already in your arsenal, and maybe you're using, maybe you're not, but with a little bit of adjustment, it's guaranteed to give you a level of success that you have not experienced before, and that is a checklist. Now, oftentimes we think, well, checklist, that's kind of rudimentary. Well, I love watching airplanes fly, and I always kind of tune in the mornings to a show where they're just doing either live flights, showing live flights landing and taking off from London, Los Angeles, Denver, Colorado. It doesn't matter. Amsterdam, it doesn't matter. I like to tune into it, and I like to listen to the air traffic control, but I also know what takes place inside the cockpit of an airplane. A checklist. Checklist, checklist, checklist. Checklist for everything. A checklist to pre-start the engine. A checklist after the engine is started. A checklist for putting in the flight plan. A checklist for everything. These are professionals who are paid in six-figure income, and yet they're given a checklist that they're required to go through every single day, every single time. I'm going to suggest that you put together a checklist for yourself. Okay, and I'm going to suggest you do it in three parts. The first part is going to be quarterly. I want you to think about putting together a checklist for yourself on a quarterly basis, not longer than that. That may be too long, but let's just say a quarterly basis. In that checklist, I want you to have listed what your top 3 KPIs are for that month. What are your top 3 key performance indicators for that month? What are they? Let's get those in that checklist so you have those. Key performance indicators. If you don't know what they are, or if you think you know what they are, go confirm them with the person you report to. Say, hey, listen, boss, what do I have to do in order for you to know I've done a good job? Those are your top 3 KPIs. You want to write them down because you're going to begin with the end in mind of all these. This is what you're going to achieve by the end of the quarter. Speaking of beginning with the end in mind, let's talk about what do you want your career to look like at the end of the quarter. Where do you want to be in your career studies, your learning, your creation, your career steps? You have a quarter. That's all you're writing down here. What are the top 3 things that you must get accomplished on the quarter so that you can reach your career goals? Which leads into our checklist showing what you need to learn or what you intend to learn. Okay? These are the 3 important things that all feed into each other that you can look at every day, basically, but this is your quarter goals. So you want to make sure that you're on track every day with the quarter goals of knowing what your top 3 KPIs are. Are you performing to that performance level that's required by your boss? Okay. I'm going to push a little bit more. Not the performance levels required by your boss, but the performance level required by his or her boss. Okay. That's the key KPIs that you need to perform to so you can get that next promotion. Okay. So the top 3 KPIs of your boss, but more importantly, his or her boss. How do they know that you're doing a good job? So when it comes time to fill that position, that next position, it could be yours. Plain and simple, short and sweet, make it yours by fulfilling the KPIs, the necessary KPIs for both your report that you report to directly and to that next level. Remember, in order for this to happen, though, your team, people who report to you, they need to know what their KPIs are to help you fulfill your KPIs so that your boss can help fulfill their boss's KPIs. Kind of a cycle, okay? What do you need to study this month? Okay, some of us might need to learn how to type better, faster, better, might need to learn how to use the 5 or however many fingers they call that now, 10-finger keypad to type better, to get better notes. Some of us might need to spend more time learning how to speak in front of a room of 2,000 to 10,000 people. Then let's drill down a little bit more and let's look at what we need to accomplish on the monthly checklist. The monthly checklist should also include those. Okay, should also include those same things. Your top 3 KPIs, beginning with at the end, your career goals, okay, as well as what new skills you need to learn. But we're going to add one to this. What new skills do you need to teach somebody else on your team? What new skills do you need to teach? So those are the things you're going to write down in your checklist. So, for example, you need to learn how to use Excel's pivot tables a bit better. And at the same time, you need to learn how to use macros a bit better. And you want to get that accomplished by the end of the month. That's on your list. Did you do the things necessary this month to get that Excel pivot tables learned and Excel macros learned a little bit better? Did you do that? Okay. How did you make this all come together? Did you do this type of work? Did you learn the things you need to learn this month? Okay. Your KPIs. Not much of a change from the quarter, but it could be. This is why it's so critical that you arrange a one-on-one meeting with your boss. You need to get at his or her desk and sit down with them and figure out what they need to see from you in order for them to know that you've been a successful employee for this month's time period. Make sure you have that listed on your checklist. So every day you can look at that checklist and see if you're building to that. Okay? Making sure your daily checklist is building to that. All we're doing with the monthly checklist is making sure we're building toward our quarterly checklist, our quarterly goals, our quarterly end of mind. Okay? So that's important for you to see that and be aware of that. So then just real quickly, please subscribe now to this channel. Need your help. We're just getting started. So please subscribe now and tune in so you can get all the live feeds. And we do a lot of feeds that are not live that just entertain people in your education, help you become better leaders. We do a lot of podcasts. We give a lot of content, And let's talk about your main checklist, your daily checklist. Okay? You must have a daily checklist. And in this daily checklist, you must have a lot of different things covered. I'm going to suggest that you look at your 7 roles as a leader and have that in the daily checklist. Did you do something to help develop each of these 7 roles? Okay. If you don't know what the 7 roles are, let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to send you to the link that has the workshop for the 7 roles of leaders. But there's a workshop you can take that will lay out what your 7 roles are. Every single day, you must take some kind of effort. So, for example, there's one in there. As a leader, you must find ways to expedite the project, the plans, the service. You must start looking for ways so that the service is delivered faster. Okay? And there's ways to do that, and you need to do this every single day. You must find ways to expedite the process of reaching your KPIs, your key performance indicators. That's one of the 7 you have to look at. So just go through each of those 7 every single day and make sure you have that checked off so you can make sure that that happens. There's 7 roles. The next one I want to speak to you about is your attitude. You must have a high attitude. Okay? You cannot afford to ever have a poor attitude, because that's what's remembered, not the 363 days of great attitude. It's the one day of poor attitude that's remembered. And there's a system, there's a skill and technique. Yes, people want to motivate you and give you a bunch of soft skills to make that happen. But I'm here to tell you the skills and techniques that you have to use in order to have a high attitude so that it's there. For example, one of the high attitude skills that you have to have is the ability to do more than what's expected. That's a skill, to do more than what's expected. Are you able to check that off? Did you do a little bit more today than what you did yesterday? Okay. Did you help someone a little bit more today? Did you uplift your team, which is back also to your 7 roles, but did you uplift members of your team so they can be better on the job, better in their personal life, better all the way around? Did you help them get ready for the next position? Did you go that extra mile or two to really know how pivot tables actually work and how they actually can help you gauge and judge your team? Help you understand, did I meet my KPIs? Did I expedite the process? Did I find a small way to expedite the process? That's a daily thing you have to check off, and that's part of your attitude. Okay, you got to be able to go that extra mile. You have to look at your leadership skills and your follow-up. Leadership skills. You have to be able to create great meetings, team meetings or company-wide meetings that are full of value, okay, that have an agenda that flow, okay. If you're having a team meeting today, a one-on-one meeting or company meeting, how's your agenda looking? That's a leadership skill, creating an agenda that works, okay. Leadership skill. Let's say I call it a coaching or counseling discussion. Do you have an agenda for your coaching session, which means you're uplifting that person, helping that person do the job better? Or the counseling session, which means you're having to warn that person that they're not getting the job done correctly. You have to lift these people up. You have to handle that type of information. That's what you need to get out there. Okay, that's what you need to get out there on a daily basis. If you just checked off those 7 things of roles of a leader, you checked off the 6 high attitude issues, and then started adding on what do you have to do for your skills as a leader, your follow-up skills, all those type of things, you got a pretty extensive list. But now you have to add on the things you have to do for the safety of your coworkers. Maybe that's just walking around and checking, fire extinguishers, or checking that the building doors are locking up successfully. Maybe that means when you're walking into the building, seeing if there's any strange cars in the parking lot. Okay. Maybe that means going around and telling everybody good morning. Use your checklist on a daily basis. Now, the reason why this is fresh in my mind, I used to just go through my top 3. Here's the top 3 things I need to do every day. I still do that, but I have my checklist. Okay. If I don't get something done on that checklist, I got a problem. Okay. But my top 3 things are there, the high priority. I'm going to get to the top 3 things because that's high priority. That's where my focus needs to be. But if I don't get something done on that checklist, I got to make that up because I want to be a successful leader of my team. And I think you do too. Hey, I want to thank you very much for spending some time with us today. Fantastic to have you back at Essential Leadership Skills Live. I want everybody to enjoy the rest of the day. It's Wednesday. I think we call it Hump Day. So have a great Hump Day.